What's poppin', guys? Garrchampion here, and this is going to be one of a few videos where the coach of the Charizard Champions and I go over everybody's final teams for the season. Trades are officially over. Free agent pickups are officially over as well. So we get to look at everybody's final team, break it down, and then rate it. So guys, all the timestamps will be down below regarding, which team we cover, so you can easily go to your favorite team or a specific team if you so choose, as well as links to all the other videos kind of included in this. We broke it up into like a few videos because it's a little long to put it all in one. So yeah, definitely look forward to those and the links when they go live. So thank you guys for watching, and hey, feel free to rate and comment your thoughts on a particular team, multiple teams, or just anything you feel like commenting. So thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day, and peace. All right, so the first full team breakdown will be my team, and we're joined here with the Charizard Champions. Go ahead and say hi.
What's poppin'?
Hey, and we get to see this lovely guy right here, this handsome guy right there.
It's weird because I can't see, like, normally I can see what's going on, but like I just have the monitor here. I can't see you, so
I can see you, but you can't see me. Incognito. Anyways, so yeah, we're gonna be covering basically a few different categories for each team, and then we're gonna be talking about it, and then we're gonna rate the team, and we're just gonna go team by team, and then that's about it. So
yeah, with it being in the late season, we're 1 week off from playoffs, teams are set, so this gives us a good feel for how our first official league went, and overall how teams really flushed out throughout the season.
Yep. And something I did want to point out too before I forgot, we all started off with the team, and based on realizing our weaknesses, what we lacked in our teams, we basically had time to mold a perfect team with what we could. So like, these should be the best teams, right now.
From what we've experienced, I mean, a lot of, like, me personally, I did a lot of changes to my team from the first draft.
Yeah.
Like a lot. So it's also based on the player, because like we've had some players that like just really trying to figure out their play style in this draft format. It's a lot for like half of us going on, so it just tells us a lot based on how they're playing and what type of player they want to be.
Yep. All right, so I'll start off just by going over all the members of the team, and then we can go into the first category. So my final team is Hisuian Sneasler. That's kind of a given. Hisuian Zoroark, Sneasler, Kleavor, Enamorous, Incarnate, Skeledirge, Iron Jugulus, Arboliva, Donphan, Weezing, and Alomomola.
It wasn't until you just did this list, I was like, dang, you really went to Hisui and you were like, I need this, that. You're coming with me, buddy.
Exactly. My first time playing with them competitive.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time, like, in Legends Arceus, we didn't get to see them, like, thrive, because the battling was weird in Legends Arceus. We all know that. And they weren't available to play in Sword and Shield, but, we got amazingly, they are fantastic. I don't think there's a bad Hisuian Pokemon.
I agree. Although I do say I really wish Zoroark still had the chance to freeze.
Is that what its signature move did in Legends Arceus?
Yep, it caused Frostbite, but...
Oh, okay. Yeah,
but it would have been cool to freeze. Status. Yeah.
Okay. Hazard setting. Obviously, you have Kleavor.
That was okay, third round pick. Yeah, so attacking and setting up stealth rocks. Very niche, but very, very clutch.
The fact that you get to attack and set stealth rocks is totally just mind-blowing. Because how many Pokemon you spend your first turn either, setting up your hazard, but like you're just gonna do damage and then set up rocks. Also, it's a rock move, right?
Yes.
So there's no immunity to rock. So you just free.
It's free.
100%.
It's 100% free, as long as you miss or you don't miss it. I think it's like 95% accuracy. But
what's the base power of that move?
65.
Okay, so it's a good.
Yeah, it gets boosted by sharpness. So
right.
See,
that's
luckily,
where I'm lacking overall is all of these new Pokemon and like the Hisui Pokemon. Until this draft happened, I had no idea what any of them did competitively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
and
they weren't even on my list.
Yeah. And I have a couple other hazard options here too. I have like Toxic Spikes with Sneasler and Wheezing, and then I have Rocks as well with Donphan. So I have many different ways to set up hazards.
Yeah, and we've seen hazards be like a key in this format this season. But also with that, we've also seen teams that struggle with hazard removal. Now, you obviously have one of like the best rapid spinners being Donphan because it has sturdy, so it can get up. It can do its job by getting rid of. And the fact that rapid spin now has that secondary effect for the boosted speed, bro, fast Donphan,
pretty clutch. Yeah, and it's unfortunate that I do only have one spinner, but I also only have one defogger, which is Cleavor, which is not exactly ideal. So
yeah,
I just kind of deal with hazards and make it work.
I thought Iron Jugulus did get defog.
If it did, I didn't know about it.
Well, give me 1 second. Let me do a quick scroll down here.
Yep.
It does not get defog.
It does? It doesn't?
It does not.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. So yeah, screens. I do have access to screens with a few Pokemon. I get more light screen options than I do reflect. And I think that's going to be the case with a lot of other people as well, if we were to do a deep dive. But screens has proved to be very, very essential in this league.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And we'll go over that with your team. You're the king of screens.
Not so much. I mean, we'll get it. We'll go there.
We'll go there. All right. You have the easiest setup, we should say. So team synergy. Obviously, I kind of know my synergy the best. But we'll hear an outsider's perspective.
Yeah. So like, I've had the lucky privilege of not having to prep against you. So you just have threats overall. Like the combination of Sneasler and Skeledirge and Iron Jugulus, just massive. These massive just attack stat Pokemon, but also this defensive, because like Arboliva has put in so much work in Alamomola. Like those two defensively just make it super hard to want to try to hit you for something super effective or even like neutral damage based on what you're bringing. And then whoever's prepping against you, they have to prepare for, Sneasler and Hisuian Zoroark, because, Illusion is always going to be a tricky situation. Like you don't know if you're free to go for the fighting move when you're about to hit Sneasler or, anything else. Not that you don't really have a fighting weakness per se for your team, but like you cover all of like each Pokemon's weaknesses pretty well. Because like you look at Hisuian Sneasler, who's got a 4 times weak to Psychic, and you just bring out Iron Jugulus, who's just like, hey, I want to eat Psychic types for breakfast.
Yeah, and that's where I think that was a good pickup for me. It was a really good offensive threat, but I didn't even realize that scenario until you mentioned it. I had a safe switch into Psychic moves. I just never even thought of that. So
yep, 100% just safe. And you have like good immunities. Like you have your ghost typing, because normal typing, it's not crazy offensive, but like me bringing Ambipom is like it's a challenge. So like, what's Ambipom gonna do? I have to rely on my secondary moves like knockoff or different things like that, which would only work once for those. So it's like not guaranteed, to get the kill. But synergy wise, I think it's great. There's not like when we go to Hayden's team, Hayden is huge weak to Fairy. Like you just see it.
Yeah.
When we look at that, when we look at your team, I don't see like a huge weakness because you have immunities to like majority of types, like Donphan for electricity, Wheezing for ground, Iron Jugglers for ground. You have fighting, Enamorous, Dragon. So like you have like the big offensive typings checked overall.
Yeah. It is nice for me, because I can safely switch into Pokemon that cover their weaknesses. Like for all my ground weaknesses, I can switch into a flying. If somebody were to hit me with a dragon attack, they're only going to be doing that for stab purposes. So I always have a safe switch into an Amorous.
You dropped your one dragon type in week 3?
Mm-hmm. Good old Haxorus.
Yeah.
Gone.
So, synergy wise, I think it looks great. And like I was talking about for the synergy for the our next thing for walls for each type of defense, covered that pretty well. Donphan, Arboliva, for the simple fact that it sets up grassy terrain is a huge advantage for just natural recovery. It sucks, your opponent gets it, but when you have tanky Pokemon like Alamola, who wants to constantly just keep getting that HP back, regardless, even if it has regenerator, full HP Alamola is just stupid to deal with. No one wants to deal with that. Like it's no one wants to see Alamola just always have full HP, which is totally possible with what you've provided.
Oh yeah, literally half my team is walls. By the way, I just looked.
Yeah,
5 of them are walls. But so yeah, I do have good access to walls. I do have some setup sweepers too. All the obvious ones, with the ones with kills, basically. Yeah. So this is personally my favorite draft team ever. So I'm gonna rate this one 10 out of 10 for me. But what would you draft this team?
I would say overall, I would give it in my opinion, I don't think there's a 10 out of 10 team, but this is pretty darn close. I would give this an 8 overall. Just because, there are some Pokemon that hit hard, but they can be checked super easy. How many times have you had Hisuian Sneasel in and something comes in and you're like, I can't do anything to this.
Yeah, not that bounce.
Turn out. Yeah.
Yep.
And then that there goes unburdened. So there's checks to go on. Like I said, and overall, I'd say it's an 8.
All right, fair enough. All right, well, we're gonna move on to the next one then.
Here we are with our next review of the next team here, the Pod Squad. Overall, pretty solid team.
Yeah. What's the roster in case people are listening?
Absolutely. So our full roster here is Talonflame, Garchomp, Slitherwing, Ursaluna, not Blood Moon. Blood Moon was not available. Indeedee Female, Root Bonnet, Hisuian Arcanine, Enamorous Therian, Glaceon, and Armarouge.
Pretty fun team.
Yeah. I think the overall utility that each Pokemon brings is very sick.
Yeah. And I think we'll go over a lot of that in the synergy.
Arcanine is fantastic on its own.
Yes.
Put it in a draft format.
I think it wreck. It's got a hard hit or rock head.
Rock head.
All right, so let's talk about hazard setters. I believe Garchomp is the only setter with stealth rocks and spikes.
Yeah, I don't think overall when this team was being crafted or built on the fly, I don't think hazards was really the mindset of what was going on here.
Yeah, and honestly, you don't need hazards to win if you don't want to. I never really played with hazards, before, but it just depends on the person's play style.
Hazards is just that one other, niche situation in battles. It's very prevalent in 6v6 singles, but Razor comes from doubles.
Yeah.
So hazards is not a thing when it comes to those.
Exactly. Unless you're Poke-Aim. I've seen his doubles videos. All he does is hazards.
But removal wise,
he's got one of the best defoggers around.
Defog, yeah. Which lucky for him, if he's not setting hazards, you can defog all you want because you don't care about you losing yours if Garchomp's the only one setting and you don't bring back Garchomp. Talonflame gets the Gale Wings ability, as most of us know, that got extremely nerfed going from X and Y into Sun and Moon, where Talonflame only has priority when he's at full HP. But priority to get rid of hazards, fantastic.
Exactly. Even if he doesn't have priority, Talonflame is like 120 speed, so it's fast enough to get him off before it dies.
Yeah. 126 speed to be exact.
Okay, I knew it was in the 120s.
Yeah. The rest of his stats we're not going to talk about, but speed for hazard removal, top tier.
And then screens. We have another really good user with Indeedee female, while also setting up Psychic Terrain.
Any Pokemon that can have a secondary effect to just benefit the team in any way, huge.
Exactly.
It's like the Cleavor, one move does two things. Indeedee comes out, sets the terrain, and then most of the time, you see Indeedee as like the support set. Again, you see it in doubles a lot because of its Psychic Surge. But it's tanky.
Exactly.
It's got a great special defense, and it's not slow. Well, 85 base speed for something that doesn't need to invest in speed, pretty crazy.
Yeah, and even the off choice specs too.
Yeah, exactly. 95 special attack. That can be a very heavy special attacker with Psychic Terrain up. Because I do believe Psychic Terrain does boost the power of said moves. Typing of each terrain.
Psychic Terrain at least boosts psychic moves. The only one that doesn't boost is Misty Terrain.
Oh, right, because it negates damage from dragon moves.
It just weakens dragon moves.
Yeah, I said negate as later up, but weakens dragon moves. That's what I meant to say. Yeah.
So let's talk about synergy here. We got a lot of good combinations here to talk about. Well, since we're already on the topic of Indeedee, let's talk about this Indeedee Armarouge.
They've been paired together since the game has come out because Armarouge was one of the only Pokemon access to
Expanding Force.
Expanding Force, thank you. Which is like one of the strongest psychic moves you can have. But unfortunately, Indeedee was one of the only Pokemon that got Psychic Surge because, our Tapus aren't in the game. Overall, that combination, sick. Nothing really wants to, instead Iron Jugless, wants to take an Expanding Force from seeing anything.
Yeah. Trying to think here. Does Armarouge also get Flash Fire?
I will double check. Hang on. Armarouge does get Flash Fire and Weak Armor.
Okay, so that's good synergy with the Glaceon as well.
Glaceon, Brute Bonnet, and Slitherwing. All three of those, weak to fire. Yeah. And any like we've talked about, any Pokemon that just has an immunity built in to it is fantastic.
Yeah. And then it'll boost the fire moves back.
Yep. And not a whole lot of teams can really take that because Armarouge's base special attack is 125 to go off of.
Yeah.
So, you're boosting that, and then, Armor Cannon is already a base 120 move.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
Yep. What was I gonna say here too? And so what tends to happen to Pokemon that really need to be crippled and handled with? Status. So people will status Pokemon to stop it, whether it's toxic or a Thunder Wave. Well, he has a really good counter to that, which is Ursaluna.
Exactly what I was thinking
the
here.
freest switch in to a like a Will-O-Wisp to a Toxic. Thunderwave it's immune to, you know, but that thing getting a power boost.
A crazy, just like, it's one of those rare Pokemon that all 3 abilities can be used viable. Bulletproof for immunity to Shadow Ball and things like, I mean, it's already immune to Shadow Ball because it's, you know, it's normal typing, but, you know, Seed Bomb, that's weak to, Bullet Seed, like all those moves. And then it also having Unnerve makes, you know, this Draft League format for those Pokemon that want to run those reducing special attack hits or special super effective hits. Holy cow.
Or harvest Pokemon that rely on a berry.
Yep.
You know, so that's just in draft format, all 3 of those abilities are very viable. You know,
and if the Guts alone is just fantastic to have. Like Pokemon with the ability Guts, pop off. Bring Toxic Spike, how dare you?
Yeah. We've seen this used effectively with the Ann Arbor Alakazam's coach with the Conkeldurr. Not even running like a Flame Orb or anything on it. Just running a Assault Vest and switching it in on a status move. Or a move. Or a move
I
that
remember
will cause
week
status.
1, you know, Scald. He just swapped it and I was like, okay, that's Guts.
Yep. You know, so you get an attack boost and then a special defense boost with just your item. You know, so like there's some good utility with this. And even though this team does have Psychic Terrain, it does have some really good priority moves. I like Slitherwing with First Impression, personally.
First Impression? Fantastic move.
Exactly.
It's a great move.
It is a fantastic move.
I wouldn't know firsthand about it, but you know, I've heard through the league chat, you know, First Impression, pretty good.
Yeah.
But okay, so we have priority Talonflame. We already covered him. He's fantastic. Hisuian Arcanine, brother. Do you not want to take extreme speed from Hisuian Arcanine?
Nope. You don't want to take any attack from that Pokemon.
Yeah. I mean, they did Arcanine right with Hisuian Arcanine. Intimidate, Flash Fire, Rockhead. You know, another Pokemon that gets Flash Fire, and then you're gonna give it access to Head Smash and Flare Blitz with Rockhead, bro. This is what Aggron needed.
Oh gosh, I know, right?
Just a huge monster, and like all around, lowest stat on Arcanine is 80 in his defense and special defense.
Man,
everything else is 90 plus.
It needs a weakness. It needs a weakness, you know, for it being so strong.
Its main weakness, dual typing, weak to water. But you know, you have Brute Bonnet that's gonna help you with that. You have Slitherwing is neutral, Garchomp is neutral. He's got answers to water. It's not that great, but he's gonna kill it.
Yeah. So let's talk walls here. Most
you mean
people,
Enamorous?
Yeah, most people wouldn't think Enamorous being a wall, but that thing is a freaking monster, dude. If you look at that stats, you don't know it until you see it. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah. Let me give you guys a breakdown. Enamorous, you know, doesn't look fat. You know, it's a little turtle. Sure, we see turtles big, and you think, oh, it's base 74 HP. That's nothing. Like that's gonna have such little. 115 attack, 110 defense, 135 special attack, 100 special defense, and then why does it need speed? Who cares? It's 46.
Who cares?
This thing gets Calm Mind and Iron Defense.
Nuts.
If this thing sets up in front of you, you better have an unaware Pokemon.
Bye.
Yeah. You're not breaking through it.
Yeah. Great wall. Very
amazing
great wall.
And the fact that, you know, Overcoat is a very like niche thing, but you know, it's not getting spored. It's not getting powdered.
Yep.
It doesn't care about the other hazard or weather like Sandstorm. So chip damage doesn't happen to it. Unfortunately, it's prone to every status, but
Yeah.
it's got recovery, draining kiss. Recovery is so clutch in this generation. A Pokemon that gets access to one move for recovery while it's maintaining huge bulk.
Yeah.
It's great.
And I personally want to address this one. Tank Chomp. All right. Tank Chomp is just... It's really, honestly, the only viable set to run on Garchomp with the huge power creep this generation.
Yeah.
It's so good with Rocky Helmet and Rough Skin. It just takes so much chip. And then you can set up Hazard's Dragon Tail. It's a very useful Pokemon,
Garchomp is one of the lucky Pokemon that have over a base 100 HP stat, which is very beneficial when you can invest in your defenses and your HP is naturally just high. Not to mention a base 102 speed outspeeds quite a lot of Pokemon. Uninvested. You don't need to invest in it.
Yep.
So when you look at Garchomp in draft format, don't think of it as just one click Earthquake or Outrage. No, think of it as like, this thing is going to support my team.
Yep.
Dragon Tail, Spikes, Stealth Rock. Go ahead. Rotate the door. Bring it on.
Yeah. And get some lovely chip if you make contact with it, too.
Rough Skin, Rocky Helmet.
Yep.
Where are your physical attackers at?
Exactly.
What's Rillaboom want to do against this thing? A huge physical threat.
Man.
Garchomp looks at it and says, hey, what's up?
Yeah, what's up, buddy? All right, so setup sweepers. We do also have Garchomp. We have the Enamorous Tea. Got Armor Rouge with weak armor in that scenario with the Psychic Terrain. So there's a little bit of setup here, but more so just raw damage with this team.
Yeah. I think this team does more of try to weaken down walls and other Pokemon so that way your big offensive Pokemon can come in and try to clean up what the other Pokemon chipped away at. Because like Garchomp wants to just come in and just annihilate because like it gets access to Scale Shot this which is a fantastic move to do damage and boost speed. Like I feel like, and then you always have to worry about Talonflame just coming in and like Acrobatics Talonflame is still a thing. So like you can use something to just prop his item. Acrobatics is still a fantastic move.
No recoil, unlike Brave
No
Bird.
recoil. Yep. So you can keep the priority if you're knocking off,
Yep. So what would you rate this team based on all the criteria we talked about?
I would rate this probably just above like an average overall at a 6.
Yeah, I think that's pretty comparable to like what I was gonna say. So I would say 6 as well.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think there's a whole lot of teams that are gonna be like a solid 10 overall in my book, but so I'm just being a little more harsher on where I get the ratings, but this is not bad in any sense.
Yeah.
It's just slightly over average.
Yeah. What I think this team is lacking is, more hazard setters and then more hazard removal. But again, that's just subject to my opinion. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't need to set up hazards or remove hazards if you don't want to. That's just, I think it would just make the team a little bit more unpredictable.
Yeah, for sure.
So, all right. Well, that's it for the Pod Squad, and we're going to go on to the next one. All right. So next we have the Storm Watchers here, and their team consists of Tornadus T, Iron Bundle, Politoed, Regieleki, Clodsire, Gyarados, Mousehold, Ludicolo, Girder, Inteleon, and Sinistra. So that is the final roster here for this the Storm Watchers.
And if I'm looking at this right, the Storm Watchers has not made a change to their roster this season.
They made one. It was Girder. They dropped Murkrow and someone else to get Girder.
Okay, I must have missed that. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I think that was a good pickup, honestly. this team needed a fighting type. They needed something that could work outside rain.
Yes.
And just a solid wall. But we'll get to walls later.
Yeah, this team, this is a good team. Let me talk about this.
It's a good rain team.
So we got hazards.
Hazards.
I
got
don't
Clodsire.
do anything that's besides Clodsire for its toxic spikes and
Stealth Rock.
Stealth Rock.
Yeah, that's about it.
Tornadus doesn't, but Tornadus is a great remover. Politoed, Regieleki. Yeah, no, I think it's only Clodsire. But honestly, this team, that's all it needs.
Yeah.
And it proved that in, week 4, about how good Clodsire is in this format.
Oh, yeah, very good display. If you can't handle toxic.
Yes.
You know. Poor Forest.
Hazard removal, however, we got some options here with Defog Girder.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
The fact that the Conkeldurr line gets Defog.
Stupid.
What do? They just throw around their beam until the hazards are removed.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
We should have given it Tidy Up.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing. Mousehold has Tidy Up, so he can remove hazards.
Mousehold, let's give it a Dragon Dance, but also let's remove hazards.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not? And then, Tornadus T, Defog. So this team doesn't really fear hazards, but also give and take, because it wants to have that Stealth Rock and Toxic Spikes when it needs it, because this team forces you to switch.
It does. It threatens hard damage too.
Any prominent weather team, just that can take full advantage of their weather, crazy.
Yeah.
Screens is our next option.
Regieleki
has brought screens a few times, which is crazy because Regieleki isn't the bulkiest Pokemon. But the fact that it's base 200, your screens are getting up.
Exactly. Screens are getting up, and then it can also live and attack because of it. I think some random Pokemon will get light screen, maybe Politoed, maybe Iron Bundle, but this is where I was talking about with my team. I get more light screen than you do reflect.
Yes.
But yeah, they have screens, so they can use it, and it has been shown. Let's talk about synergy. Obviously we got the rain strats.
Rain is, you look at this and you go, hey, that is a rain team. But Clodsire is the only real electric immunity that they have. They have Ludicolo that would take neutral.
Sinistcha takes resisted.
Yeah, it does take resisted. But Sinistcha isn't that crazy, especially physically cool. It'll take a physical hit all day, base 106 defense. But you're not really running it for defense. You're running it to be like a nuisance to prevent things from happening on the opponent's side. So the fact that it's a rain team without so many, I hate to say it, Thundurus would have been crazy for this team. Therian.
It would have. I'm shocked they didn't offer you a trade.
Looking back at this, I'm surprised they didn't offer me a trade, because Thundurus was one of the last pickups that I made.
Was it?
It was one of my last draft picks.
Oh, wow.
During the while we were live.
Yeah.
But we have pretty good coverage. We got our water Pokemon that takes advantage for it, but each of the water Pokemon bring a different battling to it. We have seen Gyarados. Gyarados is by far one of the stronger physical water types, and Dragon Dance is always a fantastic move on it.
Oh, yeah.
And
Moxie.
we've just seen Intimidate just come in, tank a hit, set up, and go.
Yeah.
But then you also have like bulk Pokemon. Like Politoed is fat. When you invest in Politoed's defenses, it's hard to get around.
Yeah. And it has access to Perish Song too.
It has Perish
So
Song, which
that
is
that's always an option, unfortunately. You know, if you're like up 2-1 and you have to use it, you know.
yes. And then you have Inteleon.
Oh.
Crazy fast to start with, 120 and 125 attack.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Who cares
And
about
then-
screens if you set up with Sniper too?
Yeah. I mean, it's true, honestly. If you are able to, you know, you want to be that crazy person and, you know, run the what is it? Lens?
Scope
I think
lens
it is.
and focus energy, I believe.
Yeah. Cool. But I mean, if not, and you're just, you know, slap a choice specs on this thing and you're just shooting hydro pumps,
He's doing some damage.
you're doing damage. Granted, it is the literal definition of a glass cannon. It does not want to take a hit from anything.
Nope.
But you know, you don't want to take a hit from it.
Exactly.
Better have an immunity or a very strong resist.
Yeah. Or better team synergy.
Yes.
So it's
Other
kinda
than that, I don't really see like a weakness per se, but I also don't see like a huge offensive, like obviously their water Pokemon are gonna hit really hard. But like other than that, like there's not a whole lot. I mean, Mousehold, we all know Mousehold's gimmick is Population Bomb, and if you don't prep for Population Bomb, shame on you.
Yeah.
Like you deserve to get swept by a Mousehold if you don't prep for it. It was one of the best Pokemon in VGC when it first came out, and it stuck around for a while, but everyone prepared for it, and it lost its touch.
Yeah. So walls. I would argue that Tornadus T is a wall simply because of its
certainly is.
ability.
Anything with Regenerator is a wall.
Exactly. So whether it's ran
Regenerator-
offensively, they can come in, take a hit, and then just get the hell out. You know.
Yeah,
Clodsire, big wall, unaware.
obviously. Unaware. Water Absorb, I think it is, right?
Yep, gets that too. Girder with the Violite, crazy wall.
Again, one of those guts users, you know,
Yep.
that so like it wants to take a status. So if you're scared your Gyarados is gonna get burned, you know, here's Girder.
Yeah.
Burn me, please.
Yep. And then I think the last wall is Sinistra if it can get up a few Calm Minds. That thing is going to be hard to break.
String Slap. Dude, String Slap is such a strong move.
It is.
Any physical attacker, you gotta have an answer for it.
Oh, yeah. You're better bringing a special attacker against this thing because it has Matcha Gotcha that can burn you and Strength Sap. So it's a very scary Pokemon to have.
Yeah. Like I said,
Like
it
with
wants
physical
to be a
attacks.
menace.
Yeah.
It's not the crazy damage dealer, but if it gets to where it can do damage, no, sir, it's done.
Just realized there was a cord, like, in the background that you could visibly see. It's just driving me nuts. Ever since I saw it, I'm like, no, you're blocking Inosuke.
Not
Inosuke. Not Inosuke. So yeah, what would you rate this team here?
I think this is a very good team. Like, you have to be ready for this team. Like, it's not something you can just be like, oh, I'm gonna throw this together to battle it. Like, you gotta prepare for it. You gotta think about what you're doing against this team. That being said, I would probably place it probably right alongside your team at like an 8.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think it would put it higher if it had just another electric immunity.
Electric immunity or something else that can take advantage of rain. I know Beartic is a very niche Pokemon, but it gets access to Slush Rush and Swift Swim.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So I think just taking more advantage of the rain, and I mean, raid. We didn't even talk about Iron Bundle. That thing is a monster,
Yeah.
and you're gonna let it have rain up and be able to just throw Hydro Pumps at it. No, thank you.
No, thank you. I'm glad I don't have to fight this team. So then I'd have to deal with rain. So,
yeah.
all right. Yeah, I think we're just going to dive right into the next one here.
Okay, here we are again. Once again, Cortando Corphish. Fantastic art logo to start with. I'm going to say that. The Corphish is great.
I wonder who
Team
designed
roster.
it.
I would never, doubt whoever designed this was a master
Some
in their
loser.
craft.
Some loser.
Let me go over their team. Gliscor, Empoleon, Magneton, Rillaboom, Chandelure, Kamala, Shiftry, Klefki, Iron Hands, Mew, Gudra. Holy cow, does this team say bulk?
Yes.
This team is nuts to prep for, and we have seen how strong this specific team is. Hard to counteract all of the different types, abilities, and just access to every aspect of this team. Crazy synergy.
The synergy is top tier, I will say. You know what? Screw it. We'll talk about team synergy first. We're already on the topic. We'll go back to hazards later. Screw hazards. This synergy is too nice to talk about first.
Let's talk about it.
Oh, gosh.
Bro.
Got Gliscor.
Gliscor. First off, okay, so we're going to look at a Pokemon that has a pretty strong weakness to ice. Like, pretty easy. You see Gliscor, easy ice. And then you're going to go ahead and get Empoleon, who wants to eat ice. You get Klefki, who wants to eat ice. You have Chandelure. You don't want to leave your ice type in with Chandelure with its crazy special attack stat. And then Mew just can do anything to help any Pokemon in this how it's set up.
Yeah. But yeah, Gliscor is also really good to absorb status if it's already poisoned.
Oh, for sure. The fact that the Toxic Heal is an amazing ability.
It is.
And I was sad that we didn't get to see Breloom picked up this season by anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Because it gets access to, Spore and the Toxic immunity for Toxic Heal. So, like, Pokemon that have natural healing built into them is nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just a lot of coverage between like Pokemon that cover each other's weakness. So like Magneton, it has a Grass Terra, to cover for 8 times 4 ground weakness. So it can Terra Grass.
Rillaboom.
And then Rillaboom too, to cover the ground weakness. Helps Iron Hands, Klefki, Chandelure. So Rillaboom's a pretty good support.
Rillaboom is great support, and I don't know if you've ever looked at Rillaboom's stats. Because Sword and Shield, I am a Cinderace man.
Yes.
And I won't ever back down off that hill. But let me go over Rillaboom real quick, because this Pokemon in draft format is amazing. We got 100 HP, 125 attack, 90 defense, 60 special attack, 70 special defense, and 85 speed. Like I said before when we were talking about Indeedee, 85 is not a bad speed stat when you have the bulk and offensive presence to just match it. It gets one of the best terrains being Grassy Surge.
Yep.
You know that from your Arboliva.
Believe in our
Grassy Surge. Grassy Surge is amazing.
It is. Really
natural
is.
Healing to anybody that's on the ground.
Yep.
And then it just neutralizes damage from Earthquake. So Game Freak was cooking when they made Rillaboom, because they gave it high horsepower to maneuver around
its own ability.
Its own ability. Mind blown.
Yeah.
And then we talked about, like, you want to try to status this thing. You want to try to slow it, or you burn it. Burn it is obviously the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at, it's Gliscor. We already said great immunity. But then you have Chandelure with Flash Fire, that wants to do that. Gudra, who is just a massive just wall in its own right.
Yeah.
It doesn't care if it gets burned. Like,
nope. But if it has hydration and rain, it doesn't care about it either.
Exactly. The synergy is just really great here. I expected to see a little bit more usage for Klefki besides the standard screens. Like, Klefki is known for screens, but also has access to, like, Magnet Rise. So you can try to set up with this thing to become that offensive right, because Steel Fairy is a great typing.
It just depends on matchup too.
It does. And then Komala. I don't know if you've ever looked at Komala.
Yeah, you can't be statused.
It can't be statused. It does not care. You want to worry about statusing something on this team? You better be reading the entire dictionary before you make that call.
Yeah. Or take care of it first before you send something.
Or take care of it first. That's right. Yeah, because it's okay overall. 115 base stat is nuts for this little Komala just half asleep.
Yeah.
And then this team goes hard offensively with Iron Hands. Mew is always a threat. Empoleon now having access to competitive makes, like, intimidate users scared.
Defog,
exactly.
to get rid of screens that Klefki sets up.
And then okay, cool, now I'm at +2 special attack, thanks.
Yeah,
I don't care you got rid of my screens or the hazards that I was able to set with Gliscor.
Yeah. There's another thing I wanted to call out too, is the buff to Shiftry getting Wind Rider. So if you want a Blizzard or Icy Wind, the Rillaboom, nope. Attack boost, and just absorb the attack like it's nothing.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep. So, really good team synergy.
Fantastic team synergy.
So let's talk about hazard setting. Empoleon gets it. I believe Gliscor gets rocks, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yep. Mew can do anything.
Yep.
And I think that's about it. Oh, Klefki can set up spikes. So there is multiple ways to set up hazards with this team. And then removing them. There is the Komala. Mew might get Defog.
Yeah. Komala gets Rapid Spin, right? Like, not why? Why?
It just spins on its log. That's all it does.
I guess. But yeah, we said Mew. I don't know if Defog is it's got to be a TR, right?
It might be. I don't know, honestly. If it is a TR, it gets it. But if not,
yeah, it doesn't matter. Mew, you think of a Mew, it gets it.
So screens, we have one of probably the best prankster screen setter.
Yeah,
with
the
Klefki.
only other one that'd be arguably better is Grimmsnarl.
Yes, true.
But Klefki is. You see Klefki, you're like, crap, I gotta deal with screens.
Yeah, great. All right, so walls. There's a lot of walls on this team. And I think we already covered a lot, and especially with screens. I will say, I'm hearing myself echo a little bit. The best combination I've seen with screens is with the Gudra. With Reflect Up, that thing does not die.
Yeah. You have a defensive Pokemon that's like designated your wall, and you give screens up. You gotta do something to stall out the screens, or be able to just hit super effective on whatever you're doing. But Gudra, dang dude, its stats are fat.
Yeah. I keep making you rate the team first.
Yeah, David, how about you tell me? You tell me your rating this time.
I think this team is at a solid 8.
You know,
Questionably
I'm
9.
thinking the same thing. This is the one that I would put at like an 8.5.
Yeah.
If I'm doing point something, this is an 8.5.
Yeah.
I don't think it's got everything it needs to fully succeed. From what it needs. But again, this is a team that you have to look at what you're bringing. You got to plan out, and we saw like planning done tremendously. You know, from the in and out exams to try to just get around this team and just offensive pressure that this thing provides.
So, well, at least we came with a neutral, or we agreed on a score here.